Okay. Hello. Hello, hello. Okay, now it says adding. It's just saying adding, adding. Yes, it says that. It just says that it's adding. And adding is just flashing at the top of the screen.
Chelsea, please you see
Oh,
me.
there you go. I can see you.
Oh my God. Okay. And now I'm on my Liberty phone. Look, girl, on my Liberty phone.
You're a little bit far.
Okay, it's going to be great. We're going to do this and we're going to do it now because I'm afraid if we don't do it right now, it's not happening. I don't trust us. So look at here. Now remind me again of you said 6:45?
6:45. Yes.
Where are we at
So
right
we
now?
6:31.
Okay, okay. We got time. We're gonna do this. We're gonna plow right through. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. So, ladies, thank you for your patience. I know that it has been crazy. I typically don't do this, but as you just heard me tell Chelsea, these technical issues are not going to get the best of us, and I am unsure that we will be able to get back together anytime soon, or that our phones or computers will let us be great. So we finna do this. We finna run right through. I would love to give you the long synopsis of what makes Chelsea amazing, but I'm gonna give you the short one really quick. She runs the foundation Life with Chelsea, which is built to empower women, which I think is so appropriate for this book club. We are women who are happy wives, mothers, and we're women of faith. And she has a foundation that celebrates that. She's an advocate, a wife, an attorney, a Bible teacher. She's a former elected official, y'all, like in real life. And you see how young she looks? Oh. So that's real. That's like real life, right? So she has this nonprofit ministry, LWC Foundation for women leaders and their families. And she also has alwayspraying.com, which is her prayer ministry. And you all know that I believe in undergirding our faith. So the reason I brought her is because she's married to a pastor. And I wanted so many different perspectives for those of us who are building happy marriages because there's a myth. You can't be young and happy and married. There's the myth of you can't be a pastor's wife and be happy. You need to be saved, which should not be exclusive of the other. And then there's also the myth that young women can't come together and build the other. So I believe that Chelsea has built a foundation that dispels all of those myths. And I sent her 5 points to talk about with you, and we're going to do three. Did you
Let's
catch
do
that,
it.
Chelsea? Okay, you ready? Let's do the first thing. What has been the best thing about being married to a pastor? And tell us your age, because you look good.
Oh, you're too kind. So I am 30. I'll be 31 next month.
Okay.
To your first question, for me, the best thing about being married to a pastor is one, I have to say that my husband is an amazing pastor. He is truly my favorite pastor. because he's a pastor, a teacher, he's a preacher, he's a counselor. And so me, it has been, I mean, for most of my life, I grew up in the church, was very active in the church, back home in Jacksonville, Florida, and even when I was in Tallahassee. Yet what is so cool for me is that every day I get to come home to someone who truly, he's just not a pastor on Sunday, or a pastor when he has to counsel someone. Who he is who John always is, which is a man of faith, a man of integrity. He may not always quote Bible scriptures in the midst of a situation I may be in, but he always speaks the truth. And what I have loved about him, and even in our short time of dating, because we only dated for like 5 months before we got married, another 3 months I moved from Florida to Virginia, but it was always that he he pointed me back to Christ. And so, it's, for me, it's great because I get to learn church. I get to learn the Bible on Sundays and as well throughout the week. So yeah, that's about my hubby, John.
I love it. I love it. Now, so you said it was a pretty whirlwind type of situation as far as your courtship goes. Are John and you close in age?
He is 4 years older than me.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, 3.5.
Okay. And how long have you guys been married?
We have been married for 3 years. We celebrate our 3rd wedding anniversary next Tuesday.
I didn't know. I'm excited about that. I'm excited. So tell me, in this short period of marriage, a lot of people know this about me. I actually call the first 10 years of your marriage your honeymoon. I think that if you actually,
okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Because if you chose well, you should be just fine. You should be fine. But I also think it's about the investment that you're willing to put in those first 10 years, because I think that that is going to set the precedent for those of us who want to be married for the next 70 or 80. I don't think that the precedent is set necessarily in our first year, because it's not always wonderful and easy in the first year for some people. That's not my testimony, but it is for some. But I think that if you have active investment over a substantiated period of time, that is what's going to set the precedent for your marriage. So tell me, what's the tip that you would give those that marry young? Because we're considered young.
So, when I saw that question, I thought about that. I mean, I got married when I was, I think, 27 or 28.
I was 26.
I can't remember, but I didn't think that was young. Yet, what I will say, and for me, the reason why I would say I didn't think it was super young was because I was able to do several things like in my life that I wanted to do.
Okay.
And so, but to your question, this is what I would say. I would say for someone who marries young, well, if you're young and you're engaged, courting someone, it's important to find out if your life mission is the same, or if your life missions will complement each other. Because you do have the rest of your life that you're living with someone, you're being with someone, you're doing life with someone. And one of the biggest things that I've learned that I'll be talking more about is that, from my experience, is that you can't listen. I'm married to a man of God who loves Jesus, but you can't change a man. And so you have to. For me, I believe you go into a marriage believing God's best, yet also accepting that that person may never change. And so you have to begin to ask yourself, do they know Jesus enough? Because yes, we can pray, but you don't know. And so who you marry today, you have to be okay with. And then with that, believing God and trusting God, trusting the Holy Spirit, that the Holy Spirit will minister to your husband, because you don't want to be a nag. I learned that too. And that if you both love Jesus, he can speak to both of you. So you have to believe that. And so I have 2 tips. Have an idea of what your life mission is. If they're not the same, do they complement each other? Because if somebody wants to be a doctor in the United States and the other one wants to be evangelist in Africa, then that's a conflict.
Agreed.
Somebody's going to have to give for the other person to live out their life's mission. And you may decide that, but you have to go in knowing that. And so be full aware of where purpose, mission for life, and then really ask yourself, is this the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with as they are today?
That's fair. So would you consider yourself to be a happy wife?
Yes.
It's not a trick question. It's a real one. I promise. I promise. I say that because there is such a responsibility, you know, because you are a woman of faith, but you're also your own person. I think that that was one of the questions. How do you maintain being your own person while being the pastor's wife? Having the responsibility of tending to the flock. I know that husband, you guys are. Do you still run the
Say that
team?
again. You're breaking up.
The teen ministry, is that what you
Yes.
guys cover? Okay.
Yes.
So you do have a flock and you also have young impressionable minds that you guys deal with on a regular basis. So having that type of responsibility, but like you said, also being able to live out your passions, sometimes as wives, we're the ones to give a little bit more. So I'm thankful that you actually shared that actually it's not always the case and it's not always a loss if you give. It's not always a loss. But I
Oh,
think that you have
absolutely.
to count the cost in the beginning before you get into a marriage. And like you said, is this something I'm willing to deal with in perpetuity?
That's right. That I
That's
mean,
huge.
I mean that that's so right. And I think that in a thriving, God-filled marriage, both people are making sacrifices. Yes, we are submitted to our husband. Yet the husband is called to love us like Christ loved the church. And so in that love is a giving, a sacrificial love. And so sometimes the role of the woman in that submission in the world's perspective may seem that we're losing something, but if we're truly submitted to someone who is connected with the Father, then we're never losing, because in our submission and in our sacrifices, it's really a sacrifice for us as a partnership, us as a ministry, us as a couple, and what God has called us to do, which again is why your ministry, what your purpose is so important to know in the beginning. Because for me, it's, if there's certain sacrifices I've had to make, I know there'll be more. Yet I love John. I believe he's called to ministry. I believe I'm called to ministry, because just because somebody say they're a pastor don't mean that they call to ministry. So it's all these different,
Okay.
it's all these different aspects that we have to be, that as women we really have to evaluate. One of the things that John will tell anybody is that I asked him like 1,000 questions in our short time of dating, because I had been through so many unhealthy, toxic relationships where I knew not only the questions to ask, but the things to look for. No, my husband is not perfect, yet I do believe that we can be in healthy, happy relationships. That's not perfection, but that's two people striving to please Jesus in all that they do. And I believe that's possible.
And I believe that that's what makes a happy marriage. I really do. I think that that was the answer I was waiting on. I think you just gave the people what they were waiting for. I think you did. And I think we did it in our time frame too. I don't think that we run over. I think that we have given them the goodie of what God has given both of us. And I think that it was worthwhile for us to keep fighting to get on this chat.
Yes, it was. Yes. I moved one of my lights so it's a little dark in here, but hopefully they're listening and they take some notes from what we've shared.
I hope so. I hope so, because it is truly my desire that women realize that happy marriage is attainable. The current narrative that you have to have drama, that you have to be unhappy, and you have to nag your man is not real life. You can be a happy wife with a productive marriage.
That is absolutely, yes, yes, I agree.
So thank you, Chelsea. You have been amazing. I look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And I'm praying for each of the ladies in your group. You all have a great one.
You too. Bye.
Bye bye.